This story is about a regular student named Ray White who got the chance to attend Arnold's Academy, a school usually for noble students. On his first day, Ray was impressed by how big the school was. As he entered the gate, he accidentally bumped into someone, but he quickly grabbed them to prevent them from falling. The girl he bumped into was initially impressed by his gesture, but when she learned he wasn't a noble, she was disgusted that he had touched her. Then, Albert Allium showed up and seemed angry because he couldn't accept that someone like Ray had entered their school. While Albert was insulting Ray, another student named Amelia Rose intervened and stopped Albert. Amelia then approached Ray, and they introduced themselves to each other. Because of her family's influence among the nobles, Amelia was chosen as the representative of the new students in the academy. During class, Ray got distracted by memories of a previous war he had experienced. His teacher, named Gray, threw a piece of chalk at him, which Ray caught. The teacher continued the lesson, talking about the 7 grand sorcerers around the world, one of whom was their school principal, Abby Garnet, a blaze sorcerer. The teacher also mentioned the Iceblade sorcerer who disappeared after the Far East War. He explained that one of the reasons they were studying at the academy was to become powerful and potentially join the 7 grand sorcerers. Albert raised his hand and questioned why there was an ordinary person studying at the academy, implying that the goal of the school was different. The teacher found Albert's question insulting and clarified that everyone at the academy had passed the entrance exam. In the library, Ray met a classmate named Elisa Griffith who was looking for a book about Ainsworth. They discovered that they were both fans of Dr. Ainsworth. Ray noticed Elisa's beautiful hair and learned that she was a half-elf, with her mother being an elf. Elisa shared that she often faced teasing because of her pointed ears, but Ray encouraged her not to hide them and complimented her beauty. After class, Ray went to his room and found his classmate Evie already there. They bonded over their shared interests. The next morning, while running, Ray met another student named Rebecca Bradley, a third-year student from a prominent noble family, similar to Amelia's. Evie explained to Ray about the top 3 noble families, the Rose, Bradley, and Algren families, who held significant political influence. Inside the school, Ray bumped into another girl, Clarice Cleveland, and greeted her politely. After that encounter, Clarice developed a liking for him. Ray then visited the principal of the academy, who had been his colonel during their time in the service during the war. They reminisced about their past experiences working together. The next day, Ray and Albert had a duel. Albert attacked aggressively, but Ray easily dodged and managed to aim his sword at Albert's neck. Enraged, Albert attacked again, but Ray simply broke his wooden sword. Their classmates were astonished by what they saw, while Abby, the principal, was pleased to see Ray enjoying himself at the academy. On another day, Ray decided to join Evie's environmental research club. The members were surprised when Ray showed his gold hunter license. Not content with just one club, Ray also joined Rebecca's gardening club, despite it being mostly comprised of girls. However, one member named Dina initially refused to let him join. Rebecca suggested a challenge for Ray, to create a new garden on top of a building within a week. If Dina wasn't satisfied with the result, she could reject Ray's application. Rebecca, who turned out to be the student council president, brought Ray food while he worked on the challenge. During their training, Rebecca mentioned an upcoming magic tournament called the Magic Chevalier. She asked Ray if he planned to participate, to which he replied that he would consider it. On the 4th day, all the club members were amazed by the garden Ray had created. Because of this, he passed the test and became a member of the club. Abby asked Ray to investigate a spy from the Empire who might have infiltrated the kingdom. They suspected that this spy may have found a way into the school. Teacher Gray informed the students that they would have a practical exercise in Kafka's forest. The class formed groups of 4, and Ray was grouped with Evie, Elisa, and Amelia. Their classmates were surprised to see Amelia in their group, which angered Albert even more. On the day of the practical exercise, Teacher Gray explained their mission, giving them 24 hours to complete it. They encountered a monster at the beginning, which Ray quickly defeated. As they progressed, they found the first stamp. In the evening, they discussed Ray's impressive actions of the day. Ray made an excuse, claiming he learned those skills in the backwoods forests. Amelia found his reason a bit suspicious, unlike the others who were sleeping. The next day, they heard a woman scream, prompting Ray to rush to her direction. He saw a monster attacking Albert's group from a distance. As Ray approached, the monster attacked him but failed to hit him. Ray managed to stab and kill the monster by himself. This made Amelia even more suspicious of him. From a distance, someone hid and threw something at the monster, causing it to come back to life. Ray fought it again, but struggled because its skin had hardened. As he was about to use his power, Amelia suddenly attacked the monster, with Evie and Elisa joining in. This gave Ray the opportunity to defeat the monster. After the practical exercise, Amelia's group received the highest grade. However, not everyone was happy because Ray, who was just an ordinary student, was in the group. One day, Ray visited Lydia Ainsworth, who had taken care of him when he was young. They talked about Lydia's current studies and about a group called Eugenics that wanted her to join. Lydia rejected their offer, feeling something was wrong about the organization. Ray took her for a walk outside, and they also discussed the Magic Chevalier competition. Lydia mentioned winning it 4 times in a row and encouraged Ray to join, but he didn't want the attention. The next day, while Ray and Rebecca were talking, Ray asked if anyone from the Algren family studied at the academy. Rebecca said that Algren family members usually attended Diam's Academy of Sorcery. She added that since this family also had an eldest daughter, she was likely to be one of Ray's rivals. The school held a contest among the students to find representatives for each level. When Amelia defeated her opponent, she challenged Ray, who accepted. Their fight began immediately. As they fought, Ray remembered his sword training. He had a chance to attack Amelia, but suddenly felt something strange in his body, causing him to drop his wooden sword and fall to his knees. Amelia was declared the winner, and Ray congratulated her. Later, at the canteen while having a snack, Albert challenged Ray to a duel, which Ray accepted. They held it in the forest, where Clarice noticed a barrier. They were surprised that Albert wanted to use real swords. Albert attacked immediately, but Ray avoided his strikes and picked up his sword. From a distance, they didn't realize they were being watched. Ray sensed something was wrong with Albert, who seemed consumed by anger. Albert used fireballs, but Ray dodged them. In his rage, Albert used a powerful move, but Ray easily countered it. Albert realized his defeat and fell to his knees. Ray was about to reveal his true identity when suddenly, they were pulled to the ground by the barrier. Their teacher, Gray, who had been watching, appeared. Ray suspected Gray was also a member of Eugenics. It turned out that Gray was also behind the sudden disappearance of the other students. Gray began attacking, but Ray managed to avoid his strikes. Gray then targeted Amelia and the others. In this moment, Ray unleashed his true power as an Iceblade sorcerer to protect them. His power changed the color of his hair. Ray created weapons to defend against Gray's attacks, and his ice blades easily countered Gray's moves. In frustration, Gray used a powerful move, but it vanished before reaching Ray. Gray attempted to flee, but Ray used his ice blades to stop him. Gray tried to convince Ray to join Eugenics, promising him a high position due to his strong power. Ray refused, and Gray attacked, but his moves didn't affect Ray. Gray then injected himself with the Dark Triad system, transforming into a monster. They fought again, but Gray's attacks were ineffective against Ray. However, Ray's body began to freeze due to his own power affecting him. Gray took advantage of this and attacked, breaking Ray's ice blades. But Ray unleashed the Ice Blossom Profusion, trapping Gray in a tornado of ice and flowers. After the battle, Ray fell to his knees, deactivating the Chronos lock and losing consciousness. In the past, Lydia saved Ray, who was an orphan from the war. When Ray woke up, Carol and Lydia were there, and they grew fond of him. When Carol learned Ray might go to an orphanage, she argued with their commander. Lydia asked Ray what he wanted, and he said he wanted to stay with them. So, Lydia decided to adopt Ray with Abby and Carol's help. The commander agreed as long as it didn't affect their work. Ray's training began, and 6 years later, during the Far East War, he joined the battle and used his ice blades. Ray witnessed Howard's death, and in his grief, he used his power too much. When he woke up, Lydia, Abby, and Carol were there. Lydia talked about wanting a normal life for Ray and studying at Arnold's Academy. Later, Abby told Ray about Lydia's wish. Ray confessed to Amelia and others that he was the Iceblade Sorcerer. He explained about the Far East War and his Chronos lock to control his power. At night, Albert apologized to Ray, who accepted it and gave him advice. After Gray's incident, Carol became their new homeroom teacher. The competitions for the Magic Chevalier representation were still ongoing. Amelia and Albert got spots for the competition. Ray saw what Amelia was thinking and offered to help her train. The next day, Ray started training Amelia. The training was tough, and Amelia felt like she was in hell. When Ray talked to Rebecca and Dina, he asked about the strength of the oldest daughter of the Algren family, Ariana. Rebecca said Ariana was really strong, and Dina mentioned she was graceful too. One day, Ray disguised himself as a woman and went to talk to Ariana at Diam's Academy. He met Tiana, Ariana's younger sister, who was crying. Ray brought Tiana along to find Ariana. While looking for her, students stared at Ray because of his beauty. They found Ariana having coffee, and Ray introduced himself. Ariana realized Ray wasn't a Diam's Academy student. Ray then revealed his true identity, surprising Ariana. He found out that news about him being the first ordinary student to enter Arnold's Academy had reached Diam's Academy. Ray challenged Ariana to a duel, and she happily agreed. During the fight, Ariana attacked aggressively until she broke Ray's wooden sword, ending the duel. After Tiana left, Ray told Ariana that he was training Amelia for the upcoming Magic Chevalier. Ariana was surprised that Amelia had a friend like Ray and said she would look forward to the competition. When Ray returned to Arnold's Academy, he saw a woman crying and running towards him. Her name was Maria, Rebecca's younger sister. Maria wanted to know if the school was right for her, and because of Ray's help, she decided to study there next year. One day, Ray took Amelia and his friends to Lydia's house. They introduced themselves, and they learned that Lydia was also a platinum hunter. When Amelia introduced herself, Lydia wanted to talk to her alone. Meanwhile, Carla asked Ray to help prepare snacks. While preparing, Carla told Ray that the Empire's Grim Reapers had taken action, suspecting it was related to the upcoming Magic Chevalier tournament. In another room, Lydia and Amelia discussed Ray's letters containing information about Amelia. According to Ray's letter, he noticed something was bothering Amelia, but he didn't know what to do. So Lydia gave advice to Amelia on how to deal with her concerns. On the day of the Magic Chevalier, Ariana talked to Amelia, and they promised to face each other in the finals. In the semi-finals for the first-year level, Amelia competed against Gerard from Mercross Academy. Abby explained the rules, including the requirement to keep the roses on each player's chest intact during the fight. When the fight started, Gerard attacked first, but Amelia easily dodged it. However, Gerard accidentally stepped on something that activated and burned the rose on his chest, making Amelia the winner. Ray approached Albert to give him the rose for his upcoming fight. Albert's opponent for the semi-finals was Ariana. During their fight, both used swords, exchanging attacks. Although Albert managed to knock Ariana down once, she ultimately defeated him by breaking his sword and punching him in the stomach. This made Ariana the winner. As a result, Amelia and Ariana were set to face each other in the finals of the rookie bracket. While Ray was walking, the leader of their club approached him and took him to a room where Lydia and others were waiting. They introduced Ray to the Hale family, who was responsible for the kingdom's intelligence agency. At that moment, Ray discovered that Carla was a member of the Hale family, and Lex Hale, the leader of their club, was her brother. Abby mentioned that the Grim Reaper from the Empire had entered their territory with the aim of kidnapping children from the top noble families. Ray was assigned to keep watch over the surroundings, and there was a possibility that he might encounter them because he was a student. As the contest continued, Rebecca had already made it to the finals. Suddenly, Clarice and Elisa approached Ray to discuss Amelia, who had not left her room yet. They noticed something strange in Amelia's voice, indicating that she was struggling with something. Their attention was then drawn to a match that ended quickly, with Lucas Frost from Mercross Academy defeating his opponent in just 2 seconds. As Lucas left the arena, he and Ray exchanged stares. Later that night, Ray went to talk to Amelia in her room. He found her sitting at the bedside, and she opened up about her feelings. Amelia expressed how she struggled to maintain her image as the eldest daughter of the Rose family and felt trapped like a bird in a cage, questioning why she was still alive if she had to endure such pain. Ray comforted Amelia, promising to support her and alleviate her burden. The following day, the final match under the rookie bracket took place. Lex noticed some unusual light coming from the audience and informed Dina that he needed to go somewhere. While Amelia was heading to the ring, Lex told Ray about Clarice and 8 other students disappearing. Ray decided to search downstairs while Lex went to Lydia and Carla. As the fight began between Amelia and Ariana, Ariana threw her sword and unleashed her power. She swiftly attacked Amelia, landing a strong punch to her stomach and nearly causing her to fall from the ring with subsequent strikes. Meanwhile, Ray spotted Clarice and the other unconscious students, approaching them immediately. When Clarice woke up, they noticed an interference spell. After a while, the so-called Grim Reapers also appeared, prompting Ray to pick up Clarice and flee from the enemies, unleashing his power to fight them. While Amelia and Ariana continued their fight, they noticed something strange happening with their powers, which Carol identified as the effect of Ray's antimaterial field. As the enemies attempted to escape, Ray used the diamond dust to defeat them. Lex arrived to handle the Grim Reapers and other students, allowing Ray and Clarice to quickly check on Amelia's fight. Ariana unleashed her full power against Amelia, overwhelming her with speed and strength. Amelia was losing hope until Ray cheered her on, causing her to release her intense power. She used the butterfly effect on her opponent, countering every hit Ariana attempted. She was suddenly transported to another butterfly, but Ariana didn't give up and continued to attack until Amelia showed signs of overheating. However, this didn't stop Amelia, and they kept fighting until their final exchange. Then, Ariana woke up, lying on Amelia's lap. She praised Amelia for her victory, which brought tears of happiness to Amelia's eyes. It was announced that Amelia was the champion of the Magic Chevalier rookie bracket. The day came for Rebecca's final match against Lucas. During the fight, Rebecca used her power to anticipate Lucas's attacks, but Lucas used his Afterglow blackout, making his attack unseen. This caused Rebecca's rose on her chest to be removed, and Lucas was declared the champion of their level. When Ray met Lucas after the fight, he realized that Lucas had inherited the Peerless Blade Sorcerer's power. Ray wondered why Lucas joined the competition, and Lucas explained that he wanted to prove to Ray that the Peerless Blade was the strongest of the 7 sorceries. Abby and the others went to interrogate the Grim Reapers caught by Ray, and Carol used her power on them. However, when Carol asked who ordered them, the Reapers' heads exploded one by one, preventing them from getting any information. Meanwhile, Evan made a deal with Rebecca's father, including his marriage to her. The next day, Dina informed Ray about this, prompting him to visit Rebecca to congratulate her on her engagement. On the other hand, the eugenicists discovered that Rebecca was the vessel they were seeking. So, they decided to take her during the meeting for the upcoming cultural festival. Ray's entire class agreed to build a maid cafe for the festival. Ray went to the student council office to get approval for this, but he noticed that the other members of the student council were absent. Rebecca informed him that they wouldn't return because of her engagement. This engagement made her look bad for taking Evan from Cornea, their secretary. Feeling sad about this, the other members supported Cornea and left the office. This left only Ray and Rebecca to handle all the work in the student council. Because of this, Ray volunteered to help them with student council activities. Later, Dina chased after Ray to share her observations about Rebecca's engagement to Evan. She felt that Rebecca was hiding something and asked Ray for help in finding out. Ray didn't hesitate to agree, so one night he asked Lydia and Carla for help to investigate Evan and his engagement with Rebecca. While Rebecca was bathing, she thought about her dreams and saw Ray in her thoughts. At that moment, her other eye started bleeding strangely. As Rebecca left school, she met Ray, who offered to accompany her home. They encountered Evan on the way, and he ended up taking Rebecca home while Ray watched. Lex then approached Ray and brought him to a meeting with Lydia, where they suspected that Evan was only interested in Rebecca because of her sorcerer's eye. So they thought Evan might be the one collecting sorcerer's eyes and could be connected to the eugenics. While Rebecca cried in her room, she went back to the time of the Far East War. There, she saw Ray crying and trying to save Howard, but Lydia knew it was too late. She forced Ray to find courage because they were still in the middle of the war. The next day, while they were in the student council office, Rebecca remembered what she saw the previous night. When Maria came to school to talk to Ray about Rebecca, Ray promised to protect her sister. One night, Ray dreamed of the day they buried Howard. He saw Rebecca there, questioning his true identity, and suddenly woke up with blood dripping from his eye. On the day of the cultural festival, Ariana and Tiana went there, and Maria also visited their maid cafe. She met Lily again. On her way home from the festival, Maria met a woman with white hair like hers, who told her that Rebecca was going to die. Ray also learned this from Lydia, and shortly after, Rebecca's father showed up, explaining the situation and asking Ray for help to save her. The next day, Maria returned to the maid's cafe and talked to Ray while Rebecca was walking. Evan met her, and they suddenly disappeared. After Maria left, Ray told Amelia that he needed to go somewhere. Meanwhile, Evan began his plan involving Rebecca. While Ray fought against the monsters and disciples of the eugenics, Amelia and the others joined him after Amelia's butterflies appeared due to her butterfly effect. As they fought the monsters, Maria went to where Rebecca and Evan were located. After defeating most of the monsters, Evan's other colleagues, including Paratrogo, appeared. When Paratrogo was about to attack Amelia, Ray blocked it. The enemies quickly left, with Ray following them. During the chase, Ray remembered what Rebecca's father had said about the curse in the Bradley family's blood. He mentioned that Rebecca being a curse only occurs once in 100 years. When they reached Rebecca's location, they found out that the person with her was not the real Evan, but Lise, whom Maria had met before. In Evan's anger towards Lise for pretending to be him for 10 years, he attacked her. Evan's plan was to reach the so-called Akasa, and he needed Rebecca for this. He also attacked Rebecca, but Lise protected her and took Evan into another dimension. Moments later, Ray arrived and recognized Paratrogo from his attack on Amelia. When Paratrogo attacked, he only hit the mirror created by Lise. She spoke to Ray and introduced herself as a fabrication sorcerer. She mentioned her plan to overheat Rebecca and asked Ray to seal her with the Chronos lock. When Paratrogo broke the glass, Ray released the Chronos lock, and they began to fight. Meanwhile, Lise went to Evan in another dimension to confront him. During their fight, Paratrogo easily destroyed Ray's Iceblade. When Evan and Lise faced each other, Evan expressed that he no longer cared about eugenics, Akasa, or Cruz. He was determined to kill her. Evan used the Dark Triad system, similar to what Grey used, turning into a monster after its injection. As Evan attacked, he suddenly froze before his attack could land on Lise. Lise then used her apotheosis, defeating Evan in their fight. Evan was amazed at the strength of the fabrication sorcerer. However, Lise stated that the Iceblade sorcerer was still the strongest, capable of ruling the entire world. After Amelia killed the monsters, they thought everything was over, but the monsters suddenly came back to life. Lydia and the others came to their rescue, using their great strength as grand sorcerers to defeat the monsters. Lydia used her Ragnarok for the final attack, stunning the other students with the grand sorcerer's powers. As Ray continued his fight with Paratrogo, Maria blamed her sister for what was happening, as Rebecca had not discussed important matters with them. Paratrogo managed to grip Ray tightly, but Ray used his Iceblade to make Paratrogo let him go. Then Ray used the Pandora, which made Paratrogo realize why the Iceblade sorcerer was the strongest. Paratrogo froze and was defeated. After the fight, Rebecca wanted to help Ray, but Maria stopped her. They ended up fighting each other, releasing their grudges. While Rebecca cried, she suddenly looked hopeful. After a while, Ray woke up, and Lise came back from another dimension with Evan. Amelia and the others arrived, but Lydia stopped them from approaching Rebecca because she was overheating. Ray approached Rebecca and asked Maria to step back. He activated the Chronos lock on her, saving Rebecca. Meanwhile, Lex immediately informed Rebecca and Maria's father about the good news. One day, Ray visited Howard and introduced him to his new friends, promising to protect them for the rest of his life. And that's the end of our story. I hope you enjoyed Ray and the Sorcerer's Tale. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss newly uploaded videos. Thank you for watching.